of work we do. Do you realize that as book publishers, you keep a lot of people from insanity? Do you realize that? Well, you may not, but the fact of the matter is, having a book to write or having a voice inside you that wants to be heard is like having a viral infection. Until you get rid of it, you might be sick for a long time. So please put your hands together this morning if you're a publisher and you're at this event and you keep people educated, balanced, and sane. You are the ones who keep history alive and who keep education alive. Thank you so much. This annual conference and book exhibition, this is the first day. As a matter of fact, it's a 2-day event. This is the first day, and if you do not have the program, but I believe many of us do, if you don't have the program, there's many to be taken at the stand at the entrance. The theme of this event is Revitalizing Local Production of Paper in Nigeria, Panacea for a Sustainable Publishing Industry. Not in my wildest imagination would I have thought that production of paper was actually a problem. But well, this is Nigeria. But I believe in the greatness of Nigeria, and I know that today, as we discuss this theme, there won't just be problems spoken about, but there will be solutions preferred. So relax and have a great time. The NPA Executive Secretary mentioned earlier, we're going to have a much larger house as we proceed, but would implore you to please converge in the middle so we can have a fuller concentration of people for today. Well, for our program today, we have a couple of things to do, so let's get started. We're a few minutes behind schedule. Before I go to introduce the men and the women who will be driving the conversations that will take the publishing industry to greater heights in Nigeria today, I would like us to politely ask us to rise on our feet as we take the national anthem of our great country, Nigeria. Please rise on your feet. Thank you very much. The Nigerian Association is an association that you probably wouldn't know the extent of the work they do unless they didn't exist. Imagine this country without an association like this, and everybody picks up their pen and writes what they like and push those books, those materials, those publications to school, to society. If this association had not taken the rightful place to sanitize book publishing, we probably wouldn't be where we are today. So thank you, NPA, for the great job you do. Please put your hands together for the NPA, for the great job being done. We are all very special guests. We must know that. For us to have been let in here, we must know we're either a friend of the NPA, a member of the NPA, or someone very, very important to the NPA. But despite the importance of each and every one of us, without saying, we have some people who will be coming forward onto the podium here today to talk to us and, of course, to take this seat. Some of these people are people we know. They are people of impact and people who have had one engagement or the other in their journey through their lives, their career, and who have some words for us today. I'll be introducing them, and I would implore them to please step forward and take a seat on the stage. Please join me as I introduce the chairman of the Nigerian Association of Publishers, the Nigerian Publishers Association. He is the host of this event as well. He's the president and chairman in council. He is Chief Uchenna Cyril Anioke, PhD. Please put your hands together. Keep clapping as he steps forward, please. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you. Keep clapping. Thank you. When you see a chief, you know you're supposed to rise, but we're not making you rise. We're saying just clap. So thank you very much, Chief Anioke, for this event. You're welcome. Yes, please take your seat. Thank you. Also, to take a place on the stage is someone who has also had great impact on the NPA. He's someone whose journey too has been about publishing, sanitizing the publishing industry, and making sure that education is felt. He is Chief Okereke. He's the former MD, HEBN Publishers PLC, and equally a former president of the Nigerian Publishers Association. Please put your hands together for Chief Okereke as he steps forward to take his place. He is another chief, as you can see, and you know how it's done. Give respect to whom it's due. Thank you, Chief Okereke, for your time and for coming. Thank you very much. The next person
and then don't forget this person is keynote speaker.
Yeah. He's next.
Okay.
Chief Eno Okereke is not just the former MD of HEB and Publishers PLC, not just the former president of the Nigeria Publishers Association, but he has continued to be a huge part of the relevance of this association. And this is why today he is the chairman of this occasion. Please put your hands together for Chief N.O. Okereke once again. Thank you so much, sir. To give us a special address today, a keynote address, is a man whose journey is academics, books, management, and public relations. He is someone you will love to listen to today. When he speaks, you just don't learn. You have an eye-opening encounter. Please join me to welcome the keynote speaker for today, Professor Rotimi Oladele. Put your hands together for him. Professor Rotimi Oladele, please step up to the stage. Okay, I'm getting a cue that Professor Rotimi is yet to join us. As soon as he comes in, we will be bringing him up on stage. Today, we're going to be listening to a couple of people who will be talking to us. This man at this time is going to not the critical job that he will be doing here today, but he'll be joining us on stage as well at this moment. Now, this event is being streamed live, and to connect, you go to the page of the NPA on YouTube, or you connect via at NPA 1965. Please connect and watch live. You can also send out this link for many people who are probably not here, but who would love to share in this experience. Just joining us at this event this morning, representative of the Honorable Commissioner for Education in Lagos State. Please put your hands together for Mr. Abaton Adedamola as he joins us on stage, representative of the Honorable Commissioner for Education in Lagos State. And when we talk about books, we talk about education, we talk about enlightenment. So you must understand why the Ministry of Education, Lagos State, is ably represented this morning. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us. We're still expecting the keynote speaker, Professor Rotimi Oladele. Like I said, he'll be joining us shortly. Next to come on stage and take his place is the representative of the Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investments. Please put your hands together for Mr. Hilary Oheto Onwokwo. Mr. Onwokwo, thank you. Thank you very much. He's representing the Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment, a ministry that book publishing in Nigeria is quite critical to. We have the UBEC representative in our midst this morning. That body is represented ably here at this event by Mrs. Grace Samuel. Mrs. Grace Samuel, is she here? Okay, Mrs. Grace Samuel is not with us yet. So as we go, other guests will be coming on stage, and I'm sure that you're not the only one eagerly waiting for Mrs. Grace Samuel to come on stage, as we have 4 able men on stage, and it wouldn't be a bad idea to have a woman there. A woman is always very important in the scheme of things. Thank you very much. I'll be handing over the microphone now as we bring you this morning the welcome address by Chief Anioke, and that is the address. Okay. You adjusted interest.
No. We adjusted the program. So
Did you? You said this one is not working. I left him.
No. Chief Okereke, the chairman of the conference, will address us first before the.
I didn't see that.
Using your program. Where is it? Oh, just open the page. Yeah, I said it.
No, it was Elijah Lukman Dauda we cancelled.
And then the chairman of the conference. Yes, okay.
Okay.
So you have to invite the chairman of the education.
No problem.
Yeah.
Okay, sir. Okay, before we bring you the address of the NPA chairman and president, let's listen to Chief Eno Okereke, chairman of this conference, deliver his address. Please put your hands together.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. The President of NPA, the guest speaker, chief executives of member firms, representative of government, the Ministry of Education here, Ministry of Trade and Industry, you are all welcome. It's with great pleasure and honor that I welcome you to the 2023 Nigerian Publishers Association Annual Conference and General Meeting. I'm particularly excited to witness yet another gathering of esteemed professionals and stakeholders in the Nigerian publishing industry. I'm glad to see that members of the association have kept the flag flying, keeping the association alive since it was formed. Our theme for this year's conference, Revitalizing Local Production of Paper in Nigeria, Panacea for a Sustainable Publishing Industry, could not have come at a better time. The book is essential for our educational development, and paper is a major raw material for the production of books. The need to strengthen our local paper production efforts becomes paramount for the sustainability of our industry. I was again excited as I sat down there to see, is it Nixon Paper Mill of Nigeria, which means things have already started. It will only be for us to crystallize it and make sure it works and works very well. I agree that publishers are beginning to embrace information technology and digital books springing up. Books in print will still continue to dominate the market. Holding the book gives the reader some sense of satisfaction. I mean, you are holding the book, you turn the pages, you are happy to hold it. You can lie down to read it, you can sit down, you can do all sorts of things, but the book is very, very essential. So what I'm saying is that publishers should not be frightened that we are talking of digital publishing and so on and so forth, because the book must remain. That is why it is necessary for us to put all hands on deck to make sure that paper, which is a major raw material in the production of books, is made in Nigeria. It is a pity that paper mills in Nigeria today have gone into extinction. There is great need to revitalize them. The solution to resuscitating our local production will require collaborative efforts from the government and the stakeholders, and part of our roles as stakeholders is what we are doing today. Publishers who need this paper most need to be involved seriously. In fact, when the paper mills are being established, we should be able to buy into it. Let us be shareholders. We now know that this is our affair. We have a keynote speaker here today who will be doing justice to the team and share with us innovative ideas and collaborative strategies that will not only revitalize the local paper production, but also contribute to the overall growth and resilience of our publishing landscape. I encourage all of us to actively participate in the discussions that will follow. I understand we'll have a panel of discussants who will also be digesting and looking at the things about revitalizing the paper industry in Nigeria. Thank you for listening. I look forward to a fruitful conference. Thank you.
Another round of applause, please. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for that wonderful eye-opening address. The event this morning would bring to the fore many of the questions that book publishing seeks to answer in Nigeria. But there are so many of them. But according to the theme of this conference, it is about revitalizing local production of paper in Nigeria, the panacea for a sustainable publishing industry. The crux of that theme is to tell you there must be a solution to the production of paper in Nigeria. Importation, is it sustainable? What are the dangers of non-production of papers in Nigeria, how are we going to cope as humans without books? Where would we be without publishers? Those are the questions we should be asking ourselves. And I believe before we leave here today, many of the listeners would have one solution or the other to prefer and the way forward for the NPA. Okay. I'll be introducing the President Network of Book Clubs and Reading Culture in Nigeria. This is a critical group to give credits to publishing of books. Please put your hands together as I introduced Mr. Richard Mammon. Mr. Richard Mammon. Please put your hands together for Mr. Richard Mammon, who has joined us today. Thank you. Thank you so much for coming. Don't forget, this event is being live streamed. You can connect via NPA 1965, and better still, go to the NPA platform to connect on YouTube. You will be glad you did, I'm very sure. Up next is, well, I'm getting another cue. We are expecting the keynote speaker any moment from now. He'll be stepping into the hall. Yes, this event is going to open your eyes to so many things, and you would find that you probably think the reading culture is a dying culture in Nigeria, but that is just a fragment of the idea of books. There is so much more to it. We look at educational books. Do you think there would ever be a time when we're going to phase out books in schools? No, I am going to say no to that question. Now, the answer or your opinion is one we would love to listen to here today. And I believe that you will learn even from other diverse views as we go along. We're going to have a panel discussion, and I must say it's going to be an interactive one. You are going to participate, and the panelists who will be sitting on this other side would also have so much to share from their wealth of experience. I'll be introducing them shortly, and I hope that you're going to connect as we do this in this hall. Don't forget that we are going to be expecting questions and answers from you, of course, when the panel discussion happens. So please, you may have some of these questions already, but please keep them and we'll be glad to hear them. Now we have the representative of UBEC Abuja in our midst, and we will be delighted if she could step forward and join us on the high table. Please make welcome Mrs. Grace Samuel, representative of UBEC Abuja. Mrs. Grace Samuel, thank you so much, ma'am, for joining us. Thank you for your time, and thank you for being part of us. We have been expecting you, because as it happens, you are probably going to be the only woman in stage at this moment. So you know why we waited for you. Thank you so much for coming, ma'am. You know, it's morning, and it rained yesterday, I understand. But you know, a louder round of applause will warm things up in the hall, if you don't mind. And a round of applause for the woman who just took her seat. Thank you. Yes. Well, it may not be in the program, but I see dishes over there, so there'll probably be something. I'm not sure. Don't quote me. Well, this morning we'll be doing a lot of talking. You know, books are they're all about words. Of course, history as well, and enlightenment. And that is exactly what we'll be doing. But Chief Anioke, you know that publishers can be quite stern sometimes. For so many aspiring writers, I must say that in a good way, the dreams of some writers would probably have been said to have been put on hold by publishers because, you could have this big idea in your heads and you go before a publisher and they tell you no. And then, well, Shifani, okay, we try again. And you keep getting rejections. Oh, things fall apart. Well, we hope things don't fall apart. And we hope this paper problem will be solved for this publishing industry to continue to thrive. As we wait this morning for the keynote speaker to join us on stage, you must know that it's quite critical to the discussion we're having here today, and that is why we're waiting. Professor Oladele is somebody you'll be glad you listened to today. So please, he'll be here shortly, and he will have a lot to tell us about this problem before us. Now, we are still expecting some of our guests as well, besides the keynote speaker, representative of the governor of Lagos State will probably be joining us here. And we're going to be receiving goodwill messages as well. There will be a book exhibition. Do you know that? That is the book stand behind you, and you don't want to leave this place today without making a visit there to see what the NPA is all about, actually. So please continue to stay with us and be patient. And now I'll be stepping aside and handing the microphone over to our own Chief Uchenna Cyril Anioke, who is the president of the Nigerian Publishers Association. He is the host. He's the one who brought us all out here today, so we'd like to hear from him. Put your hands together.
Thank you very much. Just saying thank you to the young lady, not because she's doing a good job, but because she may also not know I'm also a broadcast journalist. So I'm happy to have one of my own again doing this great job. Sometimes we do thankless job. Okay, having said that, good morning, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Let me warmly recognize the chairman of the occasion, my brother and a fellow chief, former president, former MD, a publisher of repute, Chief Okereke. Thanks for coming, and thanks for agreeing to chair. Let me welcome and recognize the representatives of one, the Honorable Commissioner for Education, Lagos State. I want to say, sir, thank you for agreeing to represent. And my brother, who is also representing the Ministry of Education. Am I right? Yes. Thank you also for being here. The Vice President of MPA, who actually is the chairman of the planning committee. Thank you for doing a good job. Other executive committee members of the MPA, former presidents of MPA here present, the DG, the man I call the czar. You know, when you run a protocol and you forget you are supervisor, you are superintendent, then of course you'll be looking for trouble. So the DG of Corporate Commission is here with us. He's always here. He's a brother, he's a friend, he's a partner. He's a critical. I'm sure why they decided to let him stay is because he's going to moderate a session, the panel discussion. But Oga, I can see you in that regalia. You're looking quite good. Welcome to this occasion. Thank you very much. My leaders and the big men, the CEOs of our member firms, You know, without you, we wouldn't be doing what we're doing. I want to say thank you very much for being here. Well, even though he's on transit, our keynote speaker, we're expecting him. I recognize him in absentia. The discussants, all of you, you are welcome. The representative of UBEC. You know, all these big publishers here, if you fail to recognize Madam here, they all be in trouble. So, Madam, you know, you are now our member because you're always here. We are glad. Thank you very much. And then, of course, Richard Mama represents a critical partnership in the book chain, and that is the president of network of book clubs. In fact, he's actually my president because I'm also a book club owner. So when your presidents are here, you just do nothing but recognize them. Thank you very much. Very important guests. Very, very important guests. Members of the press, Fourth Estate of the realm, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the Executive Committee of MPA, I most warmly welcome all of you to the 2023 annual conference of our great association. And with a little bit of pride, unarguably, the largest and the most formidable National Book Publishers Association in Africa. This country called Nigeria is big in virtually every segment. I was in Geneva last year, and I had to speak to an African group. And so when I tried to talk about Nigeria, the chairman of that group, who happens to be from Algeria, okay, I said I speak for Nigeria and Africa. The man said no. I could speak for Nigeria, I should not speak for Africa. He really provoked some thoughts in me. I said, okay, when we sneeze, the rest of Africa will catch colds. And in publishing, we have a swelling member. I asked him, how many publishers do you have in Algeria? I said, that may be from the number we have in Ogun State. He was shocked when I gave him the numbers. And those present agreed that certainly, because of our size. So I have pride in saying that we are the largest. Can't we appreciate ourselves? Thank you very much. Of course, you know, every time this year we do this kind of thing. And we're here once again to do what? To appraise our activities of the going year. And maybe, perhaps maybe, from the panel discussions, do what? Set an agenda for the incoming year and maybe for the next years to come. So, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we cannot but adequately express the depth of our profound gratitude to you all for this rare demonstration of commitment to the growth and development of MPA and, of course, by extension, Nigeria. By doing what? By your presence here this morning. Your presence here this morning is an eloquent testimony to your love, commitment to the industry. And this you've done despite what? The harsh economic situation in the country. And if you're coming from a part of the country, the security challenges. You know, these are twin evil. One, the country is difficult, and then you have security challenges. But you've all braced that to be here. And we are not taking it for granted. Thank you so very much. And as Idi Amin will say, thank you again and thank you again. Of course, the theme for today is quite written. Revitalizing local production of paper in Nigeria. Panacea for a sustainable publishing industry. Well, I don't have to dwell so much on that. We have a keynote speaker and we have what? We have a panel of discussants. The only thing I will say to my fellow publishers, and please don't get me wrong. If you are craving for revitalizing paper mill locally, we should also be craving for publishing indigenous content. I would spare you the rigor of reading what is here. But developing local content. It's become fashionable for most of us. Yours truly inclusive, but I've decided to put myself of that. What do we do, especially in the nursery, primary, and secondary? We look for foreign content, convert them to Nigeria, look for foreign writers, and do what? Do a few discussions, and then we'll have content. Sometimes the editors will forget that that content is foreign. Either you don't see rupee, you don't see Indian rupee, or you see Malaysian currency, or you see something indicating the source of the content. Sometimes it's even in the impressions, the drawings. So as we are looking today how to revitalize local paper mills, can we also look inwards and say, if we're doing this, let's stop this craze of going abroad, looking for content and trying to convert them. Let's get our young people doing what? Let's get them writing. I know there are challenges. There are benefits to the other one, but can we purge ourselves of that? You can't be asking to localize paper mill and you are foreignizing, permit the expression, you are foreignizing content in a way. I think this is my key message, and I hope my friends will like that. Well, if you don't like it, please. We must think Nigeria. We must act Nigeria. Most importantly, drive pride in the use of Nigerian brand. Nigerian brand is just not in the paper. It's in the content. It's in those who are commissioning to write for us. Please, let's look inward. There are a lot of budding writers. There are a lot of people who are talented. A reverend father came to me for a walk. And in the course of that discussion, I was ashamed of myself because I was actually looking for him to finance that work. But I just recalled that I have a relation who just got signed in Canada to write a book. The day he got signed, that day he got $10,000 to encourage him. They're not asking him to find money for the production. They are paying him to have a convenient place to develop that idea. That's what publishing is all about. This cash and carry publishing, well, it's good for us to survive. But please, can we begin to move a little bit and localize what we are doing? I will appreciate that. It may be part of our next 12 months. You know, this ESCO has the next 12 months to go. It may be part of the things we are going to do. I told former president, and he laughed. I said, these 12 months will be actually disruptive. I was actually borrowing the phrase from my governor, who says whatever he's doing in Enugu is disruptive and innovative. We're going to have the next 12 months that is disruptive and innovative. And the CEOs, please don't kill me. You know, I'm not seeking re-election. So I'm going to do things in the next 12 months that will actually reposition and refocus this industry. And you know, for you to have a challenging pregnancy, you have to do some kind of surgery. And to do a surgery is not an easy thing because somehow blood must flow. So if you begin to notice anything in the coming days and weeks, please forgive me. Of course, we've assembled great men to talk to us today. And the leader of the intellectual park is Professor Rotimi Oladele. I'm looking, in fact, ever since I read a bit about him, I've been looking forward to seeing this man. They say he's retired. I said he's not tired. Okay? Former managing director of African Newspapers Limited. What are we waiting for? We are waiting to drink from his fountain of knowledge. And so please, ES, try and locate this, our guest speaker. It's very, very important. And of course, the panelists been carefully chosen. If you're asking Dr. John, I say in DG, to moderate a function, to moderate a panel discussion, you must also give him strong men and women who will also be by his side. Otherwise, if you don't do that, you just be putting Messi or Ronaldo as captain, and God got a Jegunle 11 to join them. No matter the expertise, the football match will not be an interesting thing. So having DG as moderator, I'm proud to say that we'll have Professor Abiodun Oluwa Dare. Department of Forestry and Products, University of Ibadan. I just met him a while ago, and I was just told he just had his inaugural, and we've requested him, Prof, kindly extend that inaugural address. I know what it means in the university to do an inaugural. So congratulations, Prof. That's a brilliant one. It means you have attained a height that the rest of the people will listen to you. And that's the man we have today. And he's discussing actually what he published in his inaugural. And we have Mrs. Funlayo Okowo, MD, CEO of Faye Limited. And the president of presidents. You know, when we pride ourselves in publishing, and if the printers go on strike, well, of course, we'll be in a bit of a trouble. And here today, he has agreed to join us. He's my friend, he's my brother, Olugbemi Malomo, Sipon president. Okay? Thank you for coming. I hope he's still here. Yes, thank you very much. And then we'll have our own Alhaji Hassan Bala of Learn Africa. We have Mr. Hilary Ohetu Nwokbo, representing Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment. Well, of course, we will introduce our chairman. Okay? Thank you very much. Sometimes I find it difficult to mention those in absentia. These are governors. I hope they actually understand the importance of books. Sometimes they talk about education, and I wonder what they're doing without books. Whether it is offline, online, e-copy, whatever it is. The book is a critical ingredient for any education. So if you like, declare free education and you're not supplying books to schools. I'm sure such a state. Well, I know that Babajide Sanwo-Olu is a very active governor. We hope that before we leave, he will be here. Dream fulfilled. I'll paraphrase it. You have the copy. Since 1965, when MPA was established, we got established on a rented apartment. We've been on a rented apartment. If you are from my part of the country, if you're an Igbo man, and you live that long, and you don't have a hut, a small hut, a 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom in your village, Igbo Ifulefu, Chief will attest to that. It does not matter what you do. You got to that age, you don't have a home of your own, and you're living somewhere in VI, somewhere in Banana, all these fancy areas in Lagos, and where you come from, you don't have a home. You are, if you read things fall apart, Igbo Ifulefu. And so over the years, our ogas have done so much for us to have a home. The last ESCO led by the man I call the digital president, working under His Excellency Dayo Oguniyi, the chairman of our building committee, bought us the land. But of course, when we came, we planned to do a skyscraper. Halfway, the team broke our hands. I called him and said, look, where I come from, it's better to live in a boys' quarter in Ajegunle than to have a rented apartment in Ikoyi. And pronto, with the cooperation of the CEOs, we moved into our secretariat just a few months ago, a permanent secretariat. It's been commissioned, we're operating from there. For me and for a lot of people, that was a dream fulfilled. Because no matter how small your home is, when you go there, you can answer to the door. I run a program in Enugu called Housing Today. And I said, in Housing Today, if you're a tenant, and there's a knock on your door, and you say, who is that? And he says, I'm the landlord. You tell him, sorry, sir, I didn't know you are the one. Because you don't ask the owner of the house, who are you? If you ask him, he would decide to repay his building and send you away. So we've been able to move into our secretariat, and that is one thing I must give to all the CEOs who made contributions, who made sacrifices. You have no idea what that means to us. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And thank you very much. Of course, appreciation. I've done that for the CEOs. But let me sing particularly thank the AGM Planning Committee. I wish I have time to ask them to stand out, but Dauda, look man, can you stand up? Can you just show your face on their behalf? No, you're hiding, no? This is just the only AGM in a long time that ran smoothly, financially. I don't know how they did it. And I was actually on sabbatical. I didn't care to listen. I said just plan it and execute it. I'm proud of you guys. Thank you so very much. It's not in the numbers. It's not in the numbers. We're not looking out to see a crowd here. But what we have is a very quality people who have gathered here this morning. And I'm so proud of those who are here. Thank you very much. I've seen a couple of pupils. I want to thank them for coming. I want to thank their head teachers, their principals, for letting them out of the school by this time. And we're expecting that more will come. Finally, I appreciate and welcome you all to this great event. Please sit back and enjoy your day. Let me add that the task of rescuing our publishing and printing ecosystems is in our hands. We must not let it die. And the time to let it breathe. You know, there's this concept about, please, I want to breathe. Let him breathe. The publishing industry must do what? We must breathe. Let us unite to say, forward ever, backward never. Thank you, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, for your generous attention. May God continue to bless Nigeria. Thank you very much.
Please put your hands together once again for the NPA President, Chief Uchenna Cyril Anioke. That was a beautiful address, sir. And I'm particularly happy for certain things you said. Local content publishing is very important. So many voices in Nigeria and Africa have died because the NPA probably said no. Well, imagine going to a publisher with a work that didn't allow you sleep for years, and you finally put pen to paper, and you give it to him and he reads it and he says, I like the end. And you say, which particular part of it? And he said the last two words. And you ask him which of the last two words, and he says the end. In other words, carry your papers and walk. But I believe with this beautiful, beautiful charge to your colleagues, something will change in the nearest future, and we'll begin to tell our stories by ourselves, because African stories are best told by Africans. Put your hands together for him once again. Thank you very much. We have in our midst the man we had been waiting for. He is the one who is going to hold the reins to give us the keynote address today. Please join me to welcome on stage Professor Rotimi Oladele, Chairman, CEO, Mega Voice Publications Limited. Please put your hands together for him as he steps upstage. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for coming. We are happy to have you. We have been waiting for you. We can't wait to hear from you and drink from your fountain of knowledge and your wealth of experience. Thank you for coming, sir. Please put your hands together again. I know I'm giving you too much work, but please just oblige. While the president was speaking, we also had join us in this hall the representative of the Commissioner for Tertiary Education in Lagos State, who is the Director of Standard and Accreditation Department. Mrs. Idowu Olakpeju is here as well. Please, madam, we're happy to have you. Please come forward on stage and take a seat. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. As we go along, don't forget that every minute of this event is being streamed live on the YouTube page of the Nigerian Publishers Association, and you can link it by going straight to YouTube, or you could use the link at NPA 1965. You can link this, you can share it on your social media pages, you can do something about it and let the world know that we are here gathered today and we're discussing something very important. Now, there is a young woman whose voice is being heard all over the country. She's someone whose words impact and move people. She's a performance poet, a spoken word artist. And this beautiful young lady won the 2021 Kuramo Spoken Word Contest. She loves, or rather, I would love to introduce her as Solutionist Clementina. Please put your hands together. She comes forward for a spoken word performance. Thank you. Please keep clapping. One day you're going to listen to her like you listened to the young lady who gave an address at the inauguration of the President of the United States, Biden. Say, yes, I was there the day she gave a performance at Lagos Airport Hotel. Welcome, Clementina.
Thank you, Mr. President, dignitaries here present, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Like I was rightly introduced, my name is Clementina Edere-Omi, and it's that point in time where I like to take us on a journey of words. It's what I want to call a silent moment. So who is ready? Who is ready for it? Thank you. How do you do it? How do you stand upon elevated grounds, dressed in deceit, stitched with threaded lies? How do you conceal greed while outlining the people's need with eyes shadowed from realities of the street, the very ones with whom you shared no tears? How do you, with no preparation, lay a foundation for craftiness, blush with the makeup of philanthropy? How exactly do you stand behind the mic sermonizing what's good for the goose as not good for the gander? How do you forget shots of yesterday? Eyes focused on lighted floors covered with rug of respect, when lips gloss manifesto of good health care, education, power, free elections. It never occurred to minds to raise eyebrows to the struggles of insecurities, uncertainties happening while men sleep irrespective of time. How do you journey overseas with your head, leaving annos at home, touching countries, archiving selfies, leaving your people to suffer, the very people whose Tom gave you this position through the exercise we call election? How do you keep them at the T-junction of corruption like Abel? You anoint their head with oil of sufferings, suffering on queues to get social amenities, for free healthcare, money, and many things. What happened to democracy? That government of the people, by the people, and for the people. How had the mighty fallen, like a once standing breast suckled by a few? In this land where democracy is only taught in school, but in the real, greedy slave masters rule like beasts of no nations. So how do you sleep in the midst of raging storm? When you are the pirates, how do you sing? We shall overcome. We shall overcome. We shall overcome someday. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe we shall overcome someday. Tell me.
Consequently, my ministry is happy to partner with you in this edition. knowing fully well the potentials of this sector for job creation, wealth creation, poverty alleviation, and revenue generation. This sector must be well guided, promoted, and protected in order to achieve these potentials. To this end, the government is desirous of supporting this important industry through several actions, one of which is the development of a sector-specific policy for the printing and graphic industry. And I urge you to take advantage of this event that has brought together top minds in the industry to harvest inputs for the development of a sector policy and advance this sector to where it ought to be. I therefore anticipate a very robust engagement on the team, and as I eagerly look forward to the resolutions and recommendations arising from this conference. At this juncture, may I also inform the participants to take advantage of the various incentives such as Backward Integration Program Certificate, BIPC, and Import Duty Exemption Certificate, ITEC. These are support letters from the Ministry of Trade and Industry. And I hope this gathering opens new opportunities for more investments in the industry. Once again, I wish to congratulate the organizers and the participants at this conference and wish you all fruitful deliberations. Thank you, and God bless Nigeria.
Another round of applause for that goodwill message from the Federal Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment, delivered there by Mr. Hilary Nwoko. Thank you. More goodwill messages will be coming in, and as we go in this program, we'll be hearing some of them. To the crux of, or one of them, of the matter today, the keynote address by Professor Rotimi Oladele, but he's quite an interesting man, and I would love to talk to you about him before he steps forward to take the microphone. Matthew Oluwarotimi Oladele, PhD, was born over 60 years ago. He's a seasoned scholar as well as a professional who has continued to contribute to the development of society through the various positions he has found himself. He began his academic journey with an NCE at the Lagos State College of Education in 1983. In 1985, he obtained a diploma in mass communication from the University of Lagos. He went on to obtain a diploma in marketing of the Chartered Institute of Marketing UK in 1990. And then in 1992, he didn't relent. He went back to the University of Lagos to obtain another diploma in commercial law, and then an advanced diploma in law from the University of Lagos in 1994. Then, in 1996, he received an MBA in marketing and management from the Lagos State University, Ojo. An MSc followed in 2000 in marketing, specializing in PR from the University of Nigeria. Then 2007 saw him receive an MSc in corporate governance from Leeds Metro University, the UK. And then a PhD, business administration and entrepreneurship from Babcock University in 2013. I expect you to clap, applaud. Thank you. He has had diverse work experience. He was senior sales representative for Longman Publishers Nigeria PLC between 1985 and 1990. He was PR advisor for Eko Hospital between 1990 and 1992. He was controller, marketing and corporate affairs for the Academy Press PLC between 1992 and 1997. He worked with Development UI Ventures Limited, University of Ibadan, between 1997 and 1998. He was Assistant General Manager, Marketing and Business. He was a PR advisor to KPMG West Africa between 1998 and 1999. He was Managing Director, CEO, African Newspapers of Nigeria PLC, Nigerian Tribune Ibadan, from 1999 to 2002. And then he was Managing Director, CEO of Megavance Limited from 2003 to 2021. Professor Ladele is a fellow of the Institute of Public Relations, a fellow of the Institute of Directors, a fellow of the National Institute of Marketing of Nigeria, a fellow of the Chartered Institute of Professional Printers. He is a fellow of the Institute of Entrepreneurs and also the Nigerian Institute of Management. He is a fellow of the Institute of Credit Administration, that of the Certified Institute of Marketing Communications, and a member of the Chartered Institute of Marketing, UK. He is a member of the Nigerian Institute of Training and Development and associate of the Chartered Institute of Arbitrators, UK. He's a published author and a publisher. He has a number of publications to his credit and has also attended over 200 seminars and conferences within and outside the country. He's also delivered over 100 papers locally and internationally. He is president and chairman. He was president and chairman of the Council, Nigerian Institute of Public Relations between 2013 and 2018. He is Vice President and Chairman, Membership Services Committee, National Institute of Marketing of Nigeria from 2010 to 2013. He was a member of the 2014 National Confab. He was President and Chairman of the Council Business Club, Ikeja, from 2014 to 2018. Consultant and trainer to the Nigerian Institute of Management from 2010 to 2019. Consultant and trainer, Institute of Directors, UK and Nigeria from 2012 to 2019. PR consultant he was to the Prison Fellowship International from 2014 till date. He was a member, secretary to the Council of the Institute of Entrepreneurs from 2001 to 2010. Director of Community Project and Entrepreneurship, Christian International Business Forum, Nigerian chapter from 1999 till 2005, and PR advisor, Sickle Cell Foundation, 2010 till date. He is a council member of the NIJ. He is a family man, happily married with children. His publications cover entrepreneurship and business and so much. He has published Entrepreneurship and Small Business 2014, Trumpet of Trouble in 2014, First Visit to the Village in 2016, Queen Primus Part 1 and 2, 2018, Job Creation and Nation Building, 2023, Managing Nigeria's Path to Sustainable Economic Growth, 2023, Managing Nigeria's Path to Sustainable Economic Growth, Pragmatic Pathway to Excellent Corporate Dynamics and Governance, 2023, Quantitative Reasoning and Verbal Reasoning is Fun, Book 1 to 6, 2022. You see why he's the man for the job today. Please put your hands together and welcome with me the man, the giant, Professor Rotimi Oladele. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. President, sir, our government dignitaries and representatives, ladies and gentlemen, forgive me if there's any breach of protocol. I just want us to save time. I can't see any giant in the hall. Let's talk about one. But the giant I know is up there. And he remains the giant. It's a pleasure to be with fathers and mothers who hold the four pillars of this industry. I woke up this morning to feel a bit discomfort because another vital forum is going on somewhere within Lagos and the ambit of Lagos State Ministry of Education. I'm happy Madam is there. The Education Research Center is having a very good forum this morning. They call Festival of Instructional Materials. I wish we could blend these two events together, or we do it one day after the other so that we can have a coin that have two sides. But be that as may, it's a signal to us that we need a lot of synergy within this industry. Information must be cross-bred to the extent that your calendar should respect my calendar and my calendar should respect your calendar. That is what makes Asian countries great when it comes to policy marketing and, of course, decision sharing. There is much more intentional transparency that facilitates what we refer to as development. To the issues of today, revitalizing local production of paper in Nigeria. I will beg us for the few minutes I will share that we make it very participative. If you have access to an Android phone, you can help me Google bamboo revolution. The bamboo, you know, this bamboo we used to do building support and fire. Bamboo revolution. And we'll talk about it just in a few minutes' time. To me, paper is not just paper. I refer to it as almighty. If I ask us to stand up and empty our pockets and our bags as we are standing now, we cannot do without having some percentage of the content as what? As paper. Whether money, whether receipt, whether document of your car, whether correspondence for private consumption or for post. But it is unfortunate that as much as paper is important to us, and we keep it jealously because of the content, we do not have banking recognition for that economic commodity called paper. There is no bank in Nigeria that has banking or that has printing, publishing, or paper desk. But you have oil and gas, you have agric, you have all sorts of solid minerals and so on. But a commodity that takes 46% of expenses of running administration and 57% of running education, and of course, 13% of running defense can be treated as less as we do. I think the charity should begin from home, and that's why I'm happy with Nigerian Publishers Association trying to take the bull by the horn. Paper cannot vanish tomorrow. I want us to face a few facts before we discuss. True or false, sir, mass. Paper cannot vanish tomorrow. I want us to respond to me, please. It cannot. So why do we follow the traction of pursuing the paperless world with desperation and their carelessness or negligence of the one that is serving us now? There is a proverb in my language, with due respect. Yes, for those dogs, well-roasted dogs could be sweet, but we need to eat something before we finish the roasting. So if paperless world will be the reality tomorrow, we need paper today to survive till that tomorrow. For those who have the paper now, Nigeria is a big market to them. Nigeria is a victim of circumstance, or victim of lack of planning, or victim of wrong prioritization. Because Asian countries and European countries, they know that they cannot record positive annual report in their finances without coming to the shores of Nigeria. And incidentally, they do not trade in the business any longer. They commandeer and control the industry. And it is unfortunate that this practice, which we can refer as special marketing activities, is already itching into our forex administration. Because there are cabals now that sell paper in tons, 100 tons, collect cash in dollars, and keep the dollar at home, not in the bank, so that they can use it for the mafia type of operations they do with paper. The marketing warfare in commodity market in Nigeria is the toughest in paper industry. Those among us who are printers, over the years, we understand what I'm saying better. At times, they dictate the type of paper that will come to Nigeria, the one that gives them higher margin. You can see all the bonds paper from 45 GSM to 100 GSM. But when you are looking for one or two special papers, it's not there because they don't make much money there and there's no much demand for it. So it means our economy in terms of paper merchandise is not in our hands. And if our fate is not in our hands, if our fate is in the hands of foreigners, obviously our economy is being kept outside our own domain. So when you are doing your budget and you are saying publishing, you are going to spend 100 million naira. And they look at it, what do you want to do with publish? Okay, primary school books. Okay, they calculate 3.4 billion. And it's okay, because of this, we sold paper last year, bond paper, a town for maybe for 60 grams. We sold it for 9 million per container. So this year, let us raise it up to 14 or 17%. You are not there. They are not consulting Nigerian government. They are not consulting Nigerian printers. They are not consulting Nigerian publishers. It is their own decision. They against we. And by the time you get it done, you discover that nobody is monitoring on your behalf. Nobody is negotiating on your behalf. Because it's a free market system we run. We make it easy for them. Now, apart from this, it is a permeative and causative commodity that need to be treated as such. It's permeative. Why is it permeative? It touches all our sectors. Paper services all our economic sectors. Education, information, defense, administration, commerce, relationship, diplomacy, religion, even culture. So it is very permeative, and actually it should be treated as one. And it is not only that, it requires maternity approach in terms of trust, of policy, immediacy, decision, and compliance. All those steps to be taken very well against or for paper. It requires attention, special attention for that matter. And I don't see any reason why we cannot take some necessary actions. So action plan. For action plan, it is my view that we should build structure and synergy for mobilization and, of course, for actions such as to build a structure and synergy, we will need to work together and cooperate, establish printing and publishing chamber of commerce with key stakeholders, holders involvement, ZIPON, NPA, newspapers Proprietors Association, Guild of Editors, Association of Nigerian Authors, librarians, booksellers, and so on and so forth. We have chambers of commerce, too many, you may say, but specificity, specialization, expertise, peculiarity are factors that will tell you that attention given to paper under any chamber of commerce existing now is not adequate and cannot be adequate. Because if it is not Panadol, it cannot be Panadol. That's what we knew on the public balance. So for paper, for concentration on paper emancipation, we require specialist chamber of commerce to be spearheaded by key stakeholders that are using paper now. And by the time we want to move from paper to paperless society, and it will not be a jiffy movement. It's going to be strategic. It's going to come to different shores of discussions, such as the National Assembly and, of course, commercial attaches of Nigerian embassies all over the country of the world. They should not be put behind. Then if you look at the next, we should influence federal government to declare state of emergency on paper. You may laugh at it, but it's a serious matter. What do I mean? Come 2024, any country that we export paper to Nigeria must go through certain checkup. And they must also give us certain information. Or they must also bring to the table concessions they want to offer us to develop our paper industry. Among which, to collaborate with us to resuscitate our mills, or to bring their own and have a franchise in Nigeria to start production of paper. If they are not doing that, they may need also to give us machines, equipment, over a relaxed repayment system. As an individual CEO, in 2016, I had challenges with finishing machines in our press. And we had no money to buy new ones. Even the old ones available in Nigeria were very expensive. And Europe is always used to get ready for Nigerians. Third-hand printing machines, not even just second-hand, but refurbished, because they know the long lifespan of printing machines like aeroplane. You can see aeroplane flying 30 years in the air. You can see printing machines printing 40 years in the press. So they are similar. So by the time we approached them, we couldn't get help. Board could not provide money. Bank could not give us loan. But something just told me that I could go and talk to manufacturers abroad and negotiate that we want to help them market and promote their equipment in Africa. Let them give us samples. We'll be using it. We'll be calling people to come and look at it. And we'll be projecting their image. And I was surprised that in Japan, I was able to find 2 brands who are ready to test the waters. Because they said they have never operated in Africa before, but they are afraid. This is what they had, this is what, and I said, no. We can get you government paper to stand for us that we will not disappoint. We can get our association and the sectoral paper for you. We can as well mortgage our individual interest to support management decision we are taking. We were given 4 machines. The good news is that at 18th month, the one we signed to pay for 36 months, we were able to pay off. The second one that we were promising to pay for 48 months, we were able to pay in 21 months. At the end of the day, they replenished the machine after 4 years, took them away and gave us another brand new set. If not for that strategy, I wondered whether we would have been able to achieve what we put on ground. So this is why I say Declaring state of emergency means don't bring in a machine if we don't have to give us at least 3 of these 7 conditions as a developing nation. We should not be gullible all the time. Our economic habit as Africans, and particularly as Nigerians, with due respect to all of you, is that we are gullible. And this being gullible is why we take every shit. So it is high time Nigerian paper sector, whether education, whether publishing, whether printing, should come together and muzzle the spirit and courage to say no more. So you either give us something better or good enough to run, or you don't give us at all. There are some countries that cannot do without Nigeria. Serious. I am talking about research result. At least I know of 4 that if they don't get anything between now and next 3 months from Nigeria, they cannot survive it. But they will pretend they don't need us. That's it. They pretend. Oh, madam, where are you from? Nigeria. Oh, okay, some other time we'll look at you. It's a lie. It's a lie. I don't want to remind you of how our fuel was going to apartheid country. You remember the apartheid? We were supporting our African brothers. We refused to sell oil to countries that were fueling apartheid. But our fuel was still going to the country we say we will not sell to. And we were collecting the money and putting in our pocket. And we were still fighting apartheid. So it is important for us to know what kind of fight are we having and what kind of strategy we need. We need to set up paper and graphics development commission. I am happy my brother from the Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment is being patient enough. Like majority of our civil servants, they have read their goodwill messages. Oh, I still have another special, very crucial, unavoidable assignment. And they vanish. But he sat down and sleazy. And we need you, sir. We need the Honorable Minister. What we need here, as I'm explaining it, is to spearhead a commission. We need a commission. You know, the Chamber of Commerce is from the private sector ourselves. But the commission is now from the government, the second side of the coin. We need a commission that will have a DG or executive secretary, which will look after how do we resuscitate paper. So this paper and graphics development commission must actually be for our purpose and must fund research, fund experimentation. And here, I want us to see those who have looked at Bamboo Revolution. Has anybody seen it? Anybody? Yes, God bless you. Yes, somebody say yes on this side. Oh, my sister, please. Yes, thank you. Bamboo Revolution started 14 years ago. It started in China. Chinese people don't have the trees we have here in Africa. And then they decided to use bamboo for whatever you can use log of wood, timber for. And after going through that hog, they extended it further into writing because they wanted their books to be the cheapest in the world. And they started using bamboo to make paper. Not just paper, cardboard, carton, all kinds of special papers, security papers. They didn't stop there. They looked for countries to associate with, especially those with bamboo as part of their vegetation. Just like in Nigeria, nobody plants bamboo here. Or have you planted bamboo before? It grows on its own. But we now need to grow it. We need to grow it now. And if you look at the relationship of China on bamboo, you go to Ethiopia. Look at bamboo in Ethiopia. You see what they use it for. Then go to the nearest neighbor we have, bamboo in Ghana. You see what they have done. bicycle trunks, giant pianos, interiors of automobile, beautiful cars. All the Mercedes-Benz you are just dusting and you are happy about is bamboo you are dusting. So if you look at that explosion and revolution, we need it. We need more. And then when you look at the another one is the banana and plantain trunk. Banana and plantain trunk. You go again to Uganda and see what Ugandan people by innovation and research, and also sharing have already done with the banana trunk and plantain trunk. So if Nigeria is a giant, if Nigeria is a leader, if Nigeria is a country to actually look after and follow, why are we overtaken for so far by these our neighbors, brothers and sisters? What are we doing? What are we looking at? There was a sad experience I had while doing my studies in UK. But there was an announcement by government that they discovered deficiency in iron food intake for babies in UK. And there was need to collaborate with countries that have a lot of banana, plantain, and so on. Within 3 months, 3 countries were able to sign grant of 300, I think as at that time, $300 million for coming forward to say we can grow and supply you the stuff. This is our capacity. I was expecting my country to be on the list, but nobody came. It was sad to me as a young man studying corporate governance and development at master's level then. Nobody. Cameroon was there, Uganda was there, Rwanda was there, Zimbabwe was there. So if you look at Uganda now, making magic with banana trunk, making magic with a plantain trunk, and we have so much. So we don't need paper that will give us the headache oil and gas give us. We must learn from oil and gas. Up to now, individual setup of refineries is still a problem to Nigeria. And I don't see why it should be. If an individual could do it, give him license, tell him the tax he should pay per annum, let him produce and test his standard that is genuine, that is okay, the quality is fine. Let him sell. And if you want him to bring it to a particular central pool controlled by government, let it be so. It is a deliberate starvation of ourselves. If anything happens to us that we are suffering on oil and gas, it is self-infliction. The same thing we are doing now about paper. Let somebody in his village, under a local government chairman, build capacity to recycle waste and make paper with it. 33% of paper consumed for external disposal in Russia is recycled paper. And they will write it there. Recycled from banana peel, recycled from orange peel, recycled from whatever. Whatever. So we need this. We need smaller players. We need people with originality of thought who can use what we have to do what we need. It is key and very important if we are pursuing development. We need people who influence the federal government to declare state of emergency, as I said, and we also need this graphics commission. We also need to spearhead robust research and disruptive innovation in these 3 areas. Area 1, recycling policy and enterprise development to create SMEs with interest in paper production and paper recycling. If we can do that, we will be 100 miles away from paper conversion. We were doing that very well, producing stuff with newspapers, but we now need to move faster because the difference between paper conversion and paper and waste recycling for paper is somebody is traveling with a car that can carry 5 passengers, and another is traveling with a train that has 100 coaches, and each coach has 100,000 people. So you can see the geometrical difference between our movement and their movement. We are going arithmetically. The world is going geometrically. So we need additional raise, additional effort, additional energy and collaboration to try and catch up with the world. We also need to focus at specific experimentation that must be funded by government and through the banks to make workable sources of paper, resuscitation of our meals to come up on time. We may start with banana peel. We may start with trunk, like Uganda. We may also do what Ethiopia did with bamboo. And also, we need to engage the National Assembly on resuscitation of Okuiboku paper mills, Iwokwe paper mills, and Jeba paper mills. We need very active and appropriate legislation and funding. It is not hope lost yet. We can redeem them. And if they are already sold, those who bought them should be empowered, should be assisted with policy, with focus, with research results, and also with training and capacity building to ensure that something good comes from that sales and disposal, which we have done. Why the need? Why do we need all this? Our population and level of development both of them make us a big market for those paper merchants coming to deal in Nigeria. We need to stop the huge forex capital flight through paper by ensuring that we build internal capacity as been described by those steps already mentioned. The ecosystem could create thousands of jobs if we follow it right. Economic reward is unlimited, and exportation is awaiting us as another boom if we can create that excessive capacity from local government to state and state then to national. The time is now. Stakeholders must close ranks now and work together to influence relevant government agencies and make everything workable as causative factors and also derivative responders. Our hope will rise if the following display their willpower. Who are they? Federal Ministry of Information and Orientation, Federal Ministry of Trade, Industry and Investment, Federal Ministry of Education, Central Bank of Nigeria, Bank of Industry, Development Bank of Nigeria, states that can leverage on relevant natural resources they have in their catchment. What I mean by this, those who have bamboos in their states growing up properly every time and now, they should multiply their capacity by planting more, doing research on how to plant and how to fertilize bamboo so that they can have the volume that will require conversion into paper. It is high time Nigerians solved Nigerian problems. We cannot continue to carry our pregnant women to the maternity theaters of foreigners with huge amount of money, when actually the content of medication, if discovered, could be similar, if not the same. And to share a funny one with you on that, my wife and I traveled and she had a little bit of disturbance. Then we went to the clinic and they recommended one powerful drug, 2 in the morning, 2 in the evening. But when we look at the information on the package, it's a bitter leaf capsule made in Texas with original bitter leaves from Nigeria. Thank you for listening.
Please put your hands together again for Professor Rotimi Oladele. And if we fail to do the right thing for us, we'll continue to buy bitter leaf in Texas, Milwaukee, and the rest of the American and global community. We must appreciate our own. And what he's done today is practically tell us everything we need to do. The only thing is he hasn't given us money. So please, take the cue and launch into business and see if it will not thrive. Thank you once again. Please put your hands together. He's delivered a wonderful address, a beautiful paper, well researched, shedding light on all the issues that are bedeviling the paper production industry in Nigeria and how some of those can be solved. Now, don't forget, besides this address, we still have a panel of discussants coming up to look more critically at it, to discuss, and also to take questions from the panel, arising from the discussion, and also from the audience. So if you happen to have questions, even right now, you can put it down. Of course, you could also have the microphone when the time is ripe for questions and answers. We now proceed by taking a goodwill message from UBEC Abuja, the Universal Basic Education Commission of Abuja, and beautifully represented here by a wonderful, beautiful Mrs. Grace Samuel. Please put your hands together for her.
Please permit me to stand by the protocol already. Revitalizing local production of paper in Nigeria. Here for a sustainable publishing industry. Please, what I'm going to discuss here, I feel I should not just come empty-handed. The time I was asked to represent the commission, I could not get my executive secretary's goodwill message. Because you can never produce a goodwill message for your executive secretary without him okaying it, and you come and present it. So all I did was to think of it in terms of empowering education. I see it in another way. And what I'm presenting, I've discussed with my director. So we are comfortable. Empowering education, advocating for affordable teaching learning materials in Nigeria. This is how UBEC interpreted the theme for this year. Already, if we could succeed, we have empowered education in terms of teaching and learning materials. Dear members of the Nigerian Publishers Association, NPA, I extend warm greetings to the esteemed members of the Nigerian Publishing Association as we collectively strive to enhance the education landscape in Nigeria. I wish to commend the NPA for its commitment to promoting quality education through the production of teaching learning materials. That's why we are friends. Recognizing the critical role of teaching learning materials, or that teaching learning materials play in shaping the educational experience of our children, it is imperative to address the issue of affordability for both parents and the government. The cost of these materials often poses a significant barrier to accessibility, hindering the realization of widespread educational goals. By championing policies that encourage local book production, the NPA can contribute to the growth of the publishing industry within Nigeria. This not only foster economic development, but also ensure that educational materials are tailored to the unique needs of our diverse communities. I believe that through collaborative efforts and thoughtful dialogue between the NPA and the government, we can establish a framework that promotes affordability, accessibility, and quality in education. Your continued dedication to the betterment of education in Nigeria is truly commendable, and I look forward to witnessing the positive impact of these endeavors. Thank you for your unwavering commitment to fostering a brighter future for our children through accessible and affordable teaching and learning materials by encouraging local paper production across our nation. Thank you. Long live NPA, long live Federal Republic of Nigeria, long live UBEC. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Beautiful message from UBEC there, the Universal Basic Education Commission, Abuja. Please, I would implore members of the panel to begin to get set, as shortly we'll be inviting them upstage for their discussion. But before then, I'll be inviting the representative of Nixon Paper Mill, Mr. Tunde Okun, for a presentation. Thank you. Please put your hands together as he comes forward.
Good afternoon, Chairman, distinguished members here, and all other protocol observed. My name is Tunde Okun, representing Nixon Paper Mill Nigeria Limited. I sat down there listening to all our elders speaking to us about the challenge. And I'm happy to inform us that we are not thinking about the challenge, but we are here with the solution. We are a paper and pulp mill in Shagam, already in operation. Started 2 weeks ago. We have all materials sourced locally, from the wood to the pulp to the nitrogen. We are not just sheeting the paper, we produce the pulp and we produce the paper. We have the size is about 4.7 meter length, so we can cut any size. We can make between 50 grams of paper, bond paper, to 100 grams of bond paper. For the publisher, I think this is a good news. For all your production, publishing, printing, we are here to serve you. What we believe we bring is a solution, is a partnership. Because we believe that if the paper is cheap, the book will be cheap, then the book becomes affordable to all families. So not segregating to say, I understand when one of our key speakers talked about the importation, and we're also trying to solve the problem of having to wait 4 months before your money comes back to you. Because when you go into importation, it takes about 4 months. You deposit, you wait for the clearing, then the clearing comes, then the container comes, and every of this has logistic challenges. But here, within 1 week, you have your paper. We have RIS, we have offset, we have A4 for the solutions we may need in paper. Now our concentration is in the bond paper, but we plan in the nearest future to go into the duplex paper, that is the card, the art card, the matte card for the cover. But now we know that if we can solve the problem of the bond, we can solve the other problem. In 2017, started this company, Nation. We were into production of floating text liner for cartons. Then all this material are imported and they were very expensive. But now we work with some company and the cost of carton has dropped significantly in the market, because most of them, they patronize. We were the pioneer in 2017. But today we have 10 other companies in Nigeria. So we believe that as we come to pioneer the bond production in Nigeria, more people will come. But we are here to partner with the public and want to seek your indulgence to come patronize us. We have our information in page 13 and 31 of the conference book. Our conference, you can reach out to us. Thank you, and God bless us.
a round of applause as he comes to do the presentation to the chairman of today's event, Chief N.O. Okereke. Yeah, it's chief to chief. You know, if you are going to present a gift to a chief, you know, a red cap chief, Chief Okereke is the high chief, and Chief Austin is, can you see now, he's also a red cap chief. So he must be the one to do the presentation.
For the Nigerian Publishers Association, yes, I wish to present this to you. Okay, I want to present this to you in appreciation of your presence here with us today. Congratulations, sir.
Thank you very much. And then to also present to the representative of the Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment in Abuja, I'm going to invite the chairman of the LOC, Mr. Henry Idogo, to do the presentation to Mr. Nwoko, representing Ministry of Trade. A round of applause as he comes.
Thank you. On behalf of Nigerian Publishers Association, I present this to you for your interest in what we are doing. I will pray that the Lord will lead you back home in Jesus' name. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. This must get to my permanent secretary and by extension to the Honorable Minister. Just yesterday afternoon, exactly by this time, I was exchanging pleasantries with Chief Uchenna. Before I could say, Chief, how was I? He said, which paper are you people producing? And I asked him, the paper you are using, where are they coming from? But I understood his feelings and the expression about the paper situation in the country. Chief, you heard what Nixon said. There is hope. It's coming up gradually. We will get there by God's grace. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. Now, to the keynote speaker, you know, our own professor, Rotimi Oladele. I'm going to invite Mrs. Yomi Ogunlari to do the presentation. Mrs. Ogunlari, please. A round of applause. Keep clapping until she gets here.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. On behalf of Nigerian Publishers Association, we want to say thank you so much, first of all, for honoring us, and also for that wonderful presentation. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And the next gift will go to the representative of UBEC, Mrs. Grace Samuel. And I'm going to invite Mr. Femi Anunlopo. Femi Anunlopo is a member of the organizing committee, and he's coming to do that presentation. Keep clapping until he gets here. Let's clap more. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you. On behalf of the Nigerian Publishers Association, thank you for your presence here today and being part of the program. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. You're welcome. We also have representative of the two commissioners in Lagos State, the Commissioner for Basic Education and the Commissioner for Tertiary Education. I'm going to invite our immediate past president to do presentation to the representative of the Commissioner for Basic Education, Mr. Gbadega Adidapo. Yeah, round of applause, round of applause. Thank you.
On behalf of Nigerian Publishers Association, we are happy to see you, to have you in our midst for adding value to our program today. So we are presenting this program to you. Thank you for coming. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And then the last presentation will be done to the representative of the Commissioner for Tertiary Education in Lagos State. And I'm going to invite the MD of Spectrum, Mr. Sende Oguniyi. Good. Let's clap for him to do the presentation. We can keep clapping. He has not gotten here. Yeah. Let's keep clapping. Thank you.
On behalf of the Nigerian Publishers Association, I want to say thank you for honoring our invitation. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much. So while the panel is preparing to come up, we'll implore our guests to please take the front table here. Yeah, the pictures. Okay, the group photograph first. Yeah, you can drop your gift there, the group photograph, then after that, they will step down here for the panel. Thank you.
Adili for that keynote speech. Okay. We're now moving on to the next segment of this event. We are delving deeply now, more deeply into the theme of this conference, which is revitalizing local production of paper in Nigeria, Panacea for a sustainable publishing industry. We have 5 panelists, and the 6th member that will be coming on stage would be the moderator. Please join me as I welcome stage as one of the panelists today for this discussion, Alhaji Hassan Bala, who is the MD, CEO, Learn Africa PLC. Please put your hands together for Alhaji Hassan Bala, MD, CEO, Learn Africa PLC. Please take your seat right here, sir. Thank you very much. Joining on stage to take a place is Mrs. Funlayo Okeowo, who is the MD, CEO, Faye Limited. Please, Mrs. Funlayo Okeowo, please step forward and take a place on stage if you're with us. Mrs. Funlayo Okeowo, thank you. She'll probably join us in the course of the discussion. I'll be welcoming next to the stage Professor Abiodun Oluwadare of the Department of Forest Production and Products, University of Ibadan, to join the panel of discussants. Thank you. Please put your hands together. He's stepping forward. Thank you very much. Thank you. The side. Thank you. Put your hands together again as I invite back on stage Mr. Hilary Onwoko, the Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment. You were here once and you're back again. So many assignments for you today. Please put your hands together for Mr. Onwoko. Thank you. Thank you, sir. That should be fine.
Check.
Next to come on stage is Mr. Olugbemi Malomo, the National President, Chartered Institute of Professional Printers of Nigeria. Please put your hands together as he comes stage. Thank you. Keep clapping, please. Please clapping. Keep clapping. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Like I told you, we have 5 panel members, but we still are waiting. Mrs. Funlayo Okeowo, CEO, Faye Limited, who is not here yet. While we wait, this discussion is going to move forward. We're going to kickstart the discussion. I am delighted to welcome as the moderator of this panel of discussion, Dr. John Asain, Director General, Nigerian Copyright Commission, NCC. Thank you, sir. He is taking our discussion. It is going to be an enlightening one. You can see his cap. It's fitted correctly for the position of a moderator, and he's going to take the middle seat to see how he channels the discussion today. I don't know if you noticed, but seated right there is a diverse mix of people, different fields, experiences, of course, ideas and opinions. And those are what we are waiting to hear as a solution to the problem of paper production scarcity in Nigeria. You will see that there is a publisher, there is somebody from the Printers Association, there is somebody from the agricultural sector, if I may put it that way, Mr. Professor Oluwadari, and of course, trade and investment. What else do you need? Going to bring their great work onto the discussion and be handing over now. Okay, the microphone is right before you. You can use those. Thank you very much, sir.
Well, thank you so much. Wonderful, wonderful compare, moderator. You've done well moderating the program entirely. I'm going to do the subset of moderating this panel discussion. First, I must thank our keynote speaker. You've done so well that you've made our job so easy. But I'm also, much as I'm excited about the theme and the topic for this discussion, I will try and avoid one of the traps of a moderator, which is jumping in and making all the comments that should be made by the discussants. And I also am aware that everyone here has something or some thoughts about what we're talking about. So there might be questions, or there should be questions, and we'll leave some time for that. I will not go into the background, the profile of each speaker, but each person here is eminently qualified to bring a perspective to bear on this topic. But I will say one thing. When I looked at the video clip, my first question was, so why have we been lamenting over this as if it's rocket science? Because I didn't see any rockets. These are just, it's like a modular system. And the question is, can't we find a solution to this lingering problem in Nigeria? I believe if there is a will, we'll find a way to achieve our goals. So I'll call on each and every member of the panel for a quick first round of thoughts, having listened to the keynote address, having seen what everyone has seen here today, and let's focus more on the way forward. Please, no lamentations. Let's focus on what is doable and how we should do them. So I will start with Alhaji Bala, one of the consumers that ordinarily would have lamented, but he's not going to lament this more this afternoon. Alhaji Bala, what are your initial thoughts?
Well, thank you, moderator. I think the lamentations are evident, and I would not want to re-echo them. But clearly, Professor Oladele has already given us a working document. And first thing I've seen is that we really need to have structures on ground to honestly face the problem at hand. What has made this problem elude us has been the fact that there was no commitment on the part of the stakeholders. One, I think it was due to the luxury of operating in a highly subsidized economy, which has now become evident to us that the removal of the subsidy has brought everything bare. We have seen the reality, and that is why we have been jolted into looking out and seeing where the solutions lie. So I believe the first point of call for us is to have structures on ground. We should make deliberate attempts and action to ensure that we engage government and ensure that this issue of paper production in Nigeria has come to stay, because Nixon has started, they've paved the way. Looking at the quantum of wood on the video we've just watched, I began thinking, okay, is this sustainable? Because yes, we can see they have an expanse of wood. How many do we have left in the forest? That throws me back to Professor Oladele's presentation. We need to also look at other sources of raw materials for paper production, and that is where research comes into play. So I believe there's light at the end of the tunnel, and I think this is just the beginning of good things to come for the paper and pulp value chain.
Thank you very much. That's a very optimistic note on which you ended that first comment. The question is, do we have enough to sustain what we are seeing happening around Shagamu? Which means we must, sorry? Okay, I thought there was a protest that we don't have enough. But I think it's always good to base some of these conclusions on empirical research. I mean, it's not just about sentiments. And the question is, what is the state of our forest production? But I'm happy with what the keynote speaker said, that you can actually go into the other areas. It doesn't have to be the traditional forestry that you are going to source from. But we have here a professor who can answer those questions. Professor Oluwadare.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Well, what you saw in the Nixon clip may not necessarily give an outlook of what a paper mill needs, especially when it is an integrated pulp and paper mill. The first step is, even by the time they were having their structures on ground, the place is not bare. Here are some trees that are indigenous. So the first step will be for them to make use of the existing indigenous trees that are there for their pulpwood. While they are clearing the existing trees there, maybe they have hectares of land that have been given to them by the state government, then they continue to plant based on the identified research that have said, okay, we have species A, species 2, species 3, they have been proven and they are suitable for paper conversion. So while they are removing the existing vegetation from which they can draw their own raw materials, they are replanting with suitable trees. Let me use the old Nigerian paper mill at Jeba for example. While Jeba started, they made use of 14 different hardwood species to produce craft paper. 14 different species, you can just imagine. Morphologically, they are different, right? But they were able to optimize these 14 species to produce craft paper. While they were doing that, they were replanting with Melina arborea. Melina arborea was a species that we call hardwood species. But then, the long fiber that will give strength to the hardwood was being imported. And that is where the problem of the 3 paper mills in Nigeria started. Because locally, we could not produce it. Locally, we were told that the temperate softwoods cannot grow very well in Nigeria, and if at all they are going to grow, it will take 30, 40 years. This I have disapproved in my research because I worked on pine, and I was able to come out that even in the dry savanna area, you can grow pine at 15 years and it will give you good pulp at the same time with good strength properties. So, but looking at it, sustainability. Nigeria has more than enough raw materials that we can use. It's a pity, November 23, I gave my inaugural lecture at University of Ibadan. Some of these things are in that book. So if we look at it species by species, we have more than enough raw materials to sustain any paper mill, whether they are based on non-wood, like kenaf, like ziza, like maize corn, rice, and different non-wood materials. And if it's going to be wood materials, we have indigenous species that have been identified that can be grown in plantation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'll come back for us to discuss this issue of sustainability. And I also like the point you make, which you didn't quite elaborate upon, what really happened with the paper mills we had. But I also know that government is looking at how to turn things around. It doesn't matter what we think or what we say about government. With government, even in terms of policy and providing the enabling environment, if not the enabling framework, enable the private sector to come in and to have companies like Nixon to survive. We'll still come back to Nixon and look at what we can learn from this experiment. And I know that the ministry is doing a lot already. In terms of policy, in terms of the direction in which Nigeria is going, and looking at the gaps, what will the Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment, you've in your good, but for the purpose of this panel, could you just please recap those policy directions and where Nigeria is going at this point in order to ensure that we have a sustainable local production of paper return to Nigeria? Mr. Wow, Bob, right? Good.
Thank you, Chairman of this technical session. We in government, we are not looking at the sector as a sector that cannot be revived. Obviously, government is concerned about resuscitating the paper sector. The word sustainability of paper production has been the key question, the key issue, in fact, the headache of the sector. How to sustain production of pulp and paper, and virgin pulp especially. Recalling what happened to the previous paper mills that were, that collapsed incidentally and unfortunately, we wouldn't want to go into that for now. The government decided, considering the huge sums of money spent on importing paper, especially white paper, at least we produce some quantity of brown paper in Nigeria. I hope I'm right. Okay. So white paper particularly is where the problem is mainly. So 2 years ago precisely, we constituted an inter-ministerial committee. This committee is made up of key stakeholders in the relevant areas, drawn from MDAs, private stakeholders, and they've been meeting. The recommendation of that committee is quite hopeful, I must tell you. I have been a member of that committee in the secretariat. But I wouldn't want to let some of the resolutions out for obvious reasons. But if they start to implement the resolutions and recommendations, honestly, everybody will be happy about the committee. Now, first and foremost, the ministry has set aside some incentives for companies, private paper mills that have shown capacity to produce paper by way of backward integration. For instance, if you prove to us that you can pulp trees, if you can plant these trees, secure some land, plant your trees, pulp them, convert them to paper, white paper, you are good to go. Definitely, you must have our support. And some of them that have shown, and some have shown that capacity, honestly. 3 major paper mills today in Nigeria have proven that they can produce white paper. They have demonstrated the capacity. By way of equipment, by way of pulping, by way of plantation. And the necessary support from our own part, we've given them to some extent. But again, we have to emphasize one simple fact. And that fact is, how do we grow in sufficient quantity trees that can be pulped? We are looking at this direction. Can we bring up farmers, smallholder farmers, individual cooperatives, organizations, some bodies that can come together and begin to plant some of these trees that will feed the mills? Is it possible? Yes, it's possible. They can. So we want to encourage these investors in the green areas to go into planting of these pulpable trees that can feed the mills. Supposing that the mills themselves do not have enough from their plantations to feed their mills. So other investors can support them. This is one of the major areas of concern in order to avoid what happened in the past. The experience is scary. Secondly, the recommendation of the committee is such that if an investor wants to go into partnership with local producers, such partnership may not have much hindrances. Please, I'm taking my words carefully so that and may be clearly understood. All right, for now, where we are as a ministry, we actually have a lot to do with paper production in terms of policy. We are engaging with key stakeholders, relevant key stakeholders across the geopolitical zones of the country. We want to make sure that no key player is left behind so that we can come up with a robust policy for the sector. The Nigerian professional publishers, for me, I will continue to call you professional printers. You are one of our key stakeholders. The CPON, the private paper mills, we are engaging regularly. We've been having meetings with them. And their recommendations, they profile solutions that could, resuscitate the mills. And we are glad they are responding positively. We work as a team. But we have not come up with the sector policy because we have not concluded the wider engagement. Okay, this is part of the engagement. Whatever resolutions today that can come, we may not have had, them or the knowledge of what we may have from here today. So we take it back and add to what we have until we may have built a very wide coverage. So for us, we are actually working. Don't be discouraged. We have been to Nixon. We have been to Dachau. We have been to special pulp and paper producers. We have gone to good number of them. Those who have shown interest to resuscitate or go into paper production, but to emphasize, you must show evidence of planting trees. That's the headache that will be popped locally. If you do, we will give you our support. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Well, I'm a bit concerned. I will come back to Prof. Because if we have a plan, we should have a plan. If we didn't have a clear direction and a plan, we should be able to, at the end of this conference, at least come up with a plan. I will come to how we'll work that out. But although publishers are the ones at the moment appear to feel that pinch, but I think the most direct impact, or the first line of impact, will almost likely be with the printers. And I know they've been crying for local production. In fact, they are caught between the paper issue and the foreign publishing or the external publishing thing. And I know CPON has had a position on this. So as printers, I know you know where the shoe pinches, and you know where you want intervention. What are your thoughts designing the way forward? Mr.
Good afternoon, everyone. I want to appreciate the publishers for inviting us. Good afternoon, fellow discussants. You know, when the DG, our guy here, called the professor, my heart started panting. Because when a professor talks, what do you expect from a Shomolu printer? What will he be saying? So I was just praying. I said, God, help me. Oh. And I think God answered my prayer. So they pushed it to the ministry. But having said that, the fact that we are seated here and we're having this discussion shows how far we have gone as a nation. Because it is very noticeable today that all the people that are giving key address or mention anything about what the publishers are doing, they were freely interchanging printers for publisher. You know, and once upon a time, printers and publishers, they were natural enemies. We don't sit together, but we have had people that have put in a lot of work to bring us to where we are. People like the last president of MPA, who integrated us into the book trust fund. There's actually a book trust that consists of everybody in the value chain of book, and they integrated us. So we have really been able to make progress. But the question again is, before I answer your question, is why are we here? Where are we at this point? The greatest challenge we have had is that we have always been taking the easy way out. Just like the MD of Land Africa said here too, before subsidy was removed, everybody was taking the easy way out. Nobody was. There's a book about Who Moved My Cheese. You don't know that one day cheese is going to finish at this cheese station. And some of this action that we have been taking, nature has a way of cutting things to work. Now, nature, right from pandemic, when it becomes so difficult for people to go out and get paper, even the paper there then, the people are saying, look, before we can even give you paper, we have to use the one we have, because production was ceased for like a year. And there was a lot of panic. And people realized that the way to solve local problem, forget about globalization will not solve local problem, is to come together, fashion a way out, so that locally we can produce. Now, even in the discussion we have been having, we are making some assumptions. The first assumption is that when we start producing, the costs will come down. This is not true. This is not true. And if you look at just yesterday, there was a news that P&G just left Nigeria. And they said, we are leaving your country. We can't continue this romance. Unfortunately for us, there's nowhere we can go. We are still here, Abi. So, and they said what they will be doing now is that they will be importing their goods to Nigeria. So even if at the end of the day we succeeded in producing paper, and somebody come and start importing in the name of free market, won't the people that will invest their resources into this also leave? And that brings us to the first component that we need in being able to produce government policy. A policy that can state this is the do and don't. By the grace of God, in 2013, I walked up to the Ministry of Trade and Investment as an individual, and I said, look, there's need for us to address challenges. And by that action and subsequent thing we have done, they have a department, a unit for all this now. All those things were not existing before. So it's because some people pick it up on their own, you know, and because of that action, all those were done. Secondly, also, you raised a very important question. You said, they are producing paper. So why, what is all this noise about? It's not possible. You see, I would choose to be like Thomas. When Jesus Christ, when they told Thomas that Jesus Christ had came, he said, no, until I put my hand here, put everything there, before I can believe. And why am I saying this? You know, I'll round up now. The reason why I'm saying this is very simple. Sometimes ago, when the exchange rate was going unabated, we went to the ministry, and we had a meeting with people that are importing paper. And mind you, one of the biggest importers of paper in Nigeria, when they came to Nigeria, they were not doing paper business. They were selling some other. They just saw the opportunity. And right now, these people have locked up all paper supply to Nigeria. You know? So we invited all of them and said, look, what is happening? We can't even, if we get a quote, we can't get to service our customer, because when you wake up in the morning, price has gone up. Do you know that we succeeded? We now agreed that let's do a price modulation. let's be able to have a price for at least 3 months, price stability. They agreed at the meeting, which was also championed by your ministry. But thereafter they came back and they said that no, they are not going to agree. But one thing that we noted was that why they did not agree and why the exchange rate was going up for 4 months, prices of paper did not change. This still has to take us to policy. Because if we don't have good policy, everything we have said here, we will not be able to achieve it. Finally, we should not make this thing a talk and talk and talk. Let's look at workable action, highlight it, and present it to the president. We know how things are done in Nigeria. The president of Nigeria, when he first came in, he asked us a question. I don't know how many of us saw that. He said, what has happened to our paper mill? The president is inviting us. I said, come and tell me something. I will listen to you. But we have not, nobody has taken note of that. I hope these are things we can take advantage of to better our lot. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Initially I made that comment. I didn't dwell on it. And I said we'll come back to figure out what really happened. At the same time, we will not spend all the time lamenting, but we need to know where we're coming from to be able to figure out where we're going. And I'll crave the kind indulgence of Mr. President. It's not part of my duty, but I'm just craving your indulgence that after this discussion, because I know very soon they will be looking at the clock, watch and telling us to round up. But after this, is it possible, even if it's at lunch, to have a table where you have the keynote speaker, you have the publishers, you have the printers, you have government, and you have researchers in the raw material. And maybe you have one of those, well, even if you are doubting crucifixion, but at least let us have that someone from Nixon join. And let's see whether we can come up with communique from this conference. If Mr. President had asked, and we are not able to provide some response, and we are lamenting, then we appear as if we are not listening to him. And I think government is really serious about solving this problem. Like the kid said, paper is in every area. It's not about publishing only. It affects a lot of things. He even mentioned defense, mentioned the financial sector and all that. So it means that it is critical. So, and I see Mr. President not disagree with me. So maybe at lunch we'll start that conversation so that by the time we are leaving here, we will know where we are, and with the facilities available online, we get a communicate. But then, Prof, I want to find out, you didn't quite answer that. I know that the keynote speaker talked about the bamboo revolution, and he mentioned different areas where we can actually source. If you want to plant a tree, if you want to plant trees for this purpose, you should start at some. You will get to that stage where you will need the trees. I don't know if we've started planting trees. What does the research say? And by the way, I think you should make it available so that it can fit into what PA can use.
Right. Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Well, there are different ways. While I was coming into this hall, I took this way. Some came through this way. At least 2 ways to get into this hall. There are several ways. Presently, there is global concern about environmental protection, but that does not exclude the use of trees. Commercially, the trees are the major contributor of raw materials for pulp and paper production. There's no doubt about that. But there are other ways these can be supplemented through planting of what we call non-wood materials. For example, permit me to say this, in the Yoruba land, an extension to some other areas, there is this plant we call ewedu, right? If I tell us that ewedu can be used to produce paper, some people may ask, how can that vegetable grow to such a state? But it can. The POP material, in POP material, the fillers there, can be processed into paper, especially when it comes to specialty papers, because it has special properties that can be used to produce currency and security papers. Then the keynote speaker talked about bamboo. Yes, bamboo, we have it in Nigeria, but there are two major species. The Esanitera, which is very common in the north, but of smaller diameter. And then we have the vulgaris, that is Bambusa vulgaris, which is endemic to the south. So we have it a lot. Though they are grown in the wild, but they can be improved upon, and we can continue to plant more. Kenaf is there also. There is another plant we call that is very close to Kenaf, Ishapa, in some Yoruba land. I don't know what they call it in Igbo land. I want to believe that if we go ecologically, we have more than enough raw materials. So it is possible to have all these things in place.
Wow, thank you. It's often said that when a man is lazy, he will always blame church or the cutlass for everything. Alaji, yes, people focus on getting paper back and believe that once we do that, then there will be a sustainable publishing industry in Nigeria? Or do we need to have an integrated approach to resolving some of our problems so that we can begin to identify those other areas, even of production? Is it just paper? I could have asked the printer this, but at the end of the day, the publisher that bears the cost as far as the book industry is concerned.
Thank you. Paper is a commodity that we can never do without. But it is not the only solution for the publishing industry, because if we look at the current scenario where technology is taking the center stage in the rendition of content, certainly we can do more with a blended approach to content provision. We always talk about paper because we know that it is an indispensable tool, because it's not just publishing. In fact, I can't think of life without paper because it touches every facet of our endeavors. It's not just the education sector, it's everybody that needs paper. But then for we in the publishing industry, we are all aware, in fact, we are all keen into technology through e-books and other platforms. The AI is here, but we all know the truth We know the realities here. It's always slow for us to catch up, especially looking at the dwindling resources in the hands of the common man. If you say that everybody is to key into technology, key into e-books, you can imagine the key asset there is the devices. After you talk about the device, you now talk about the bandwidth, which is data, not to talk about the almighty power, which is still eluding us in most parts of the country. So the truth is, the solution is for us to go the blended approach, but reliance on paper is still heavy in this part of the world, and that is why we still see it as an indispensable part and factor of our production. So, Mr. Moderator, it's not just paper, but then we need paper because the Nigerian publishing industry is still heavily reliant on paper, and just as I earlier said, we were jolted by the realities of the subsidy removal, where we saw where we were. We saw that we were being subsidized by way of having cheap dollar and the rest. Now that the dollar has become something else, we are now seeing that we are having to pay through our noses. That's why we are looking for solutions. But thank God, I believe we are getting there. So I believe as we move on, the reliance on paper will just reduce, but we can't do away with paper. Technology will certainly take a chunk, and as we move on, we'll see how it plays out.
Well, the microphone will come back to you, sir, because government has a key role to play. Please, you can start noting your questions, because after one or two from here, we'll take questions from the other side. Well, the keynote speaker actually made some wonderful recommendations, and some of them, I don't know if they will be achievable. Some of them, I think, may already exist, or there may be some provision in the government system to address that. For instance, he talked about declaring a state of emergency on paper. Believe me, we already have so many states of emergency being proposed for different areas, for food, for security, for almost everything. I hope we will not be over-emerged. Anyway, now he also talked about setting up a paper and graphics development commission. Is the ministry not already doing something like that? Is it that we are not interfacing sufficiently with the ministry, or the ministry is not visible enough for us to know that they are addressing these areas? Or is it a new development based on the cries of the printers?
Yeah, once again, thank you, moderator. When Prof brought that issue up, I was delighted by that pronouncement or suggestion, so to speak. I want to ask, I don't know how formalized the printing. Okay, let me start from publishing through printing and graphic industry. I don't know how formalized that sector is for now. These are some of the things to consider. Why, suggesting for a body to be on their own like that. Now, if they are, my humble advice is this: as a body, forward that proposal to the ministry. That is my simple recommendation. Number two, there are incentives. It might look little to investors, manufacturers, and producers. They may not know. If you don't know, or you have the interest to go into, see, the paper has huge value chain. One area can be of interest to you. you might not know what little incentive there waiting for you as you step boldly into production of such area. So you come along and ask questions. We have good incentives. Most producers have not been benefiting from, honestly. Like I said earlier, we have not finalized the policy for pulp, paper. In fact, let me say this. Pulp and paper will have their own policy. Please forgive me for letting this out. Publishing, printing, graphic, and design will have their own sector policy. So that's the way we are looking at it, if it is possible. These people have their sector policy. These people have their sector policy for efficiency and smooth existence. Thank you so much.
Okay. Okay, well, the interesting thing is, in the forum like this, when you say you are working on the policy, you'll have people who don't trust that policies will come out in a few years, because they are still struggling with the book policy as we speak. But
so sorry for cutting you. Actually, when we visited some of these manufacturers of paper, our experience is not something palatable because of the cost they bear in producing paper, especially power. If they narrate their experience, you will be shocked at how much it costs them to produce whatever paper, be it brown or white. So we cannot have such experience and begin to sit on policy formulation. No, that may not be in the good interest of the sector. So actually, we are seriously concerned, and honestly, something is being done. It's not just saying it. We are working on it. It's just that we have not finalized it. I think we are being practical. Some of them here know, and they have been coming to ask, where are we? Where are we? This is where we are. Thank you very much.
thank you. I can see people nodding in the hall, so they agree with you that you are doing something in that direction. Because questions are going to come, and I will get the members of the panel and maybe Prof to answer. I will take one question from this side, one from this, one from here, and one from there immediately. Okay, Madam, 1, 2, none from that side, so I can take additional one from this side. No question from this side? Okay. Madam, please could I take, is that your back? Okay. We'll take, please let's have the microphone. Then I'll take Professor Okere from Babcock Press. Madam, from you back.
Thank you, sir. Sir, UBEC was happy with this year's. We are mean that revitalizing local paper production or books. The question is, why, how, and why do we strive for revitalizing local production of papers in Nigeria if that will not reduce the cost of books or learning materials for the common consumers, such as basic?
Okay.
Just that the advantage of children?
I think Malomo, he was the one that made that statement. I will take Professor Kerry's question quickly, then they will respond to the two.
My question goes to the Prof. But first of all, I have to appreciate all the presenters, especially our keynote speaker, sir. It's a pleasure. Thank you very much. Yes, following from the last speaker, her fears about why the production of paper locally will not reduce costs. I pose this question to Prof, who is in the area of research and manufacture and production of wood also that will give us the raw material for paper. I was a bit jolted when you mentioned 15 years of production. And it looks to me like, Prof, you are looking at natural tradition. Now that we are talking of producing for the need that is here, is it not possible that your give us the raw material within reasonable time and not affecting health and the environment?
For the two questions I would do in rounding up is ask Mr. Molomo to respond. Prof will respond, and then make comments or repeat from the ministry. In other words, if all these things will not reduce costs, then why are we even having this discussion?
Okay, thank you very much. When you started, you talk about us having data and integrity of data. So we have to look at examples that we have currently. We are producing rice locally. As the cost of rice reduce, that's one. We are producing cement locally. As the cost of cement reduce, that's number two. The reason why I'm saying this is that it's not that we need regulation. It's only proper regulations that can make this to reduce. If we don't have regulation, we can't leave our economy to a free market economy. There has to be regulation. If you are collecting government resources, our government is helping you, tax waivers and all that, and you are now producing, and you are now marking it with global prices, then at the end of the day, nobody is gaining anything. But local production is not just about price alone, and that's just the reality. One, when you produce locally, it's easily available. If you are producing outside of the country, like you rightly mentioned, it could take you like 4 months. Locally, you could get it easily. Two, there will still be employment generation. People locally will be employed. When people are employed, you spend less on insecurity or trying to secure the populace. I wanted to add it the other time, but it skipped my mind. One of the things we have done, we have a 3 million tons of paper gap in Nigeria. 3 million, at least. And this can be proven with statistics that we have. Now, one of the things we have done is that the printers, along with the Ministry of Trade and Book Fair, Manufacturing Association of Nigeria, we came up to address this issue by forming a pulp and paper summit, which we did last year. At that summit, we were supposed to by now have a zero draft policy from the ministry based on, Professor was at the, almost everybody here was at the summit. So we're supposed to have had a zero policy. Now, for paper production, there are 4 critical things we need. Research and development. You can't start producing. The question the prof asked there is very germane. Why are we using 15 years? Research can reduce this thing to a few years. But here in Nigeria, we don't spend money on research and development. It also interests us to know that Raw Material Research and Development Council of Nigeria collect a percentage from every raw material imported into the country, statutorily, 1%, including importation of paper. What are they doing with that money? If we have a paper commission that's been advocated, that money can be part of the thing that paper commission can have as their takeoff grants. Thank you.
Thank you. Let me add to what Mr. Molomo said. There is need, I keep emphasizing it, there is need for pulp and paper commission. And the first TOR of that commission is there is need for that commission to provide what is called a road map for pulp and paper production in Nigeria. Without a road map, we'll just be here talking without any action. Once there is a road map, already even the policy the ministry are working on will be embedded in that road map. And once the road map is there, definitely we will begin to have a way out of this problem. Yeah, to the 15-year, technology, science have changed things. Even in the advanced countries, be it America, be it in Europe, most of the softwood there, they grow naturally. So they can rely on their natural growth. But still, we can improve on the growth of this tree technologically through in vitro vegetative production and many other means. Yes, we are working on such things. I want to add here today that I introduce, let me use a simple language, FIR, F-I-R. We are very, I know that we are conversant with pine, but F-A-R, fir, Douglas fir, is a species that is common in most Mediterranean countries, in Europe, and at the same time we have it in America. I introduced it into Nigeria, and currently at 7 years, popping it. In fact, I have a master student that is working on that particular species at 7 years old. With technology and science, we can even improve on this. And I did said that while we are doing that, there are non-wood materials. For example, we can have 3 cycles of KNAF and is relevant like Ishapa, like Ewedu, Kokoros, Zaiza, right? This keynote speaker mentioned about banana. When that particular video was flying here and there, many people sent it to me. Hey, can you see what is? I told them that I started work on banana as far back as 1993. And it has produced a PhD that used banana to make paper. My first PhD, who is also a professor now, worked on the stalk of miraculous berry. Those of us who are very familiar with moi, this leaf you normally use to wrap moi when you want to cook it. The stalk produce better paper than pine. The research is there. That's why I said it's a pity that the inaugural paper was not here, but I hope that some other time you're going to have it. So we have it. With science, all these things can be modified. But the question is, where is the fund? Research for development. I don't call it research and development. It should be research for development. And if research is not funded by the stakeholders, how much do I earn in a month? Less than 420,000 naira. Where will I get money? A student that I just trained, we spent over 5 million naira to train him in Malaysia from a peasant lecturer. God bless us.
The stakeholders will make sure that you are no longer peasants. Because I'm sure before we leave this place, we will. You see, you don't need a cartographer to tell you where you are going. You can use ordinary pencil to draw a sketch. Let's have a sketch drawn at this conference. Then we can now organize another small meeting of these experts to put together a document that between NPA and the ministry and SIPON, even though we are not directly concerned, we also want to support that, so that at the end of the day, you can say this is a document coming out of this conference, then submit it to government and wait to see what they will do. But like I said, the stakeholders have all the money. Publishers are the major stakeholders.
Well, Mr. Moderator, yes, publishers don't have all the money, but we have some of the money, because the paper value chain is vast, and the consumers are also vast. But I see light at the end of the tunnel. There's great hope. Hearing, listening to Prof talk about the other sources of paper, I believe we have the solution. They say necessity is the mother of invention, and I think we are now being more innovative. And I think developing and growing conversations around this and taking it to fruitful conclusion will be the solution. And with what the moderator has said, I think that fruitful conversation and discussion will commence after lunch, and will ensure that the engagement continues until we get to a logical conclusion, and we now have a policy document which has aptly been started and presented to us by Professor Oladele. Sorry, Mr. Professor Oladele, you were one of our own in Longman, so I call you you are still our own. So I believe we have a way forward, and I'm really happy, and I believe the entire MPA and the paper value chain will be glad by the time we come out with the policy statement and the papers to be presented to Mr. President. Thank you so much.
The commitment, something will come out that will go to Mr. President to answer the question and provide a roadmap. And I want the ministry to just endorse that, so that we can know that we have the final endorsement from Abuja.
Actually, I will start by saying that I wouldn't allow myself to be swallowed by Madam's fear that the production of local paper will not reduce the cost of publishing and books. No, I'm quite optimistic that once production of paper here picks up, it may address your fear. I want to appeal to the organizers. Whenever we have such engagements, we're always looking forward to your reports, so that when they get to us in good time, we can always articulate our recommendations and push them. So please do ASAP your report to us. Thank you very much.
Sorry, I think I need to chip in a word from the question asked by the UBEC representative. Truly, we are all concerned if we are saying that with all this effort, the pricing or the cost of books is not coming down. I believe I should speak on behalf of the MPA, and I guarantee that certainly there will be a drop in the cost of books, because there are other incidental costs that away once we're able to source paper from within. So, madam, I assure you, the cost of books will certainly come down. Thank you.
Like the economists will say, all things being equal. So we'll make sure that every other thing is put in place so that the price of books will eventually come down. On that very optimistic note, knowing that books will soon be selling for half the price we are paying at this point, I want to tell the organizers that we have accomplished our goal, which is to bring down the cost of books. We have the commitment that production will start very soon. The prof is nodding. The ministry has accepted. So thank you very much. And on that note, I say thank you for being a wonderful audience. And applause to those who made it possible. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We had entered the hall while the discussion was already in progress, and Mrs. Funlayo Okeowo, the MD CEO Faye Limited, joined us in the hall. She had prior engagements, so that's why she could not join us from the onset. We would now like to invite her upstage to give her comments in a few words as we on the panel discussion. Thank you, ma. Please give her a round of applause. Immediately she makes her comments in about a minute. We'll be taking a good photograph and do a presentation of gifts. You're welcome, ma'am.
Protocol. I'm sorry, my idea. Today was our AGM at Lagos Chamber of, so that's why I was late. My comments will center around what Madam said, that why are we here when we know the cost of paper will not come down? I would like to, I don't want us to be biased in the sense that this is a starting point. For the past 40 years, I eat paper, I dream paper, I work on paper. And I want us to be optimistic that the cost of paper will go down. Because if you are saying because of digitalization, maybe paper will not thrive. But when you look at Europe, where digitalization started, their post office is still working. In London, in America, both digitalization and paper is still working. And when we look at it, for example, if you receive 500 mails per day, how many are you able to read? I'm sure you will not have, maybe you'll be able to read 50 mails. And that person must be a genius to read 50 mails. We should, for example, was going to make comments. He said, I earn 420. That's emotional for me, in the sense that they are doing a very, very good job in the university. And the beauty about this is that they've been able to do their research. That gone are the days of the maligners, that you have to work, invest 12 years for gestation period. Now, the gestation period is lesser. We will make it. And paper will turn into the second oil in Nigeria. So let's have hope. Everything when it comes to working in Nigeria now is expensive. Let's make it work. Let's the new incoming generation, let them be happy to stay in this country rather than them jackparing. Because we have a lot of, it's all over the papers, the problems they are having now in Europe. We have brains here. We will do it and we will make it. So let's work hand in hand together to make sure it works. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Another round of applause to her and also to members of the panel. Thank you, Alhaji Hassan Bala, for being part of the discussion. He's the MD CEO, Learn Africa PLC. Thank you, Mr. Olugbemi Malomo, National President, Chartered Institute of Professional Printers of Nigeria. Thank you for coming. We also thank you, Mr. Hilary Nwoko, representing Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment for you. Thank you, Professor Don for the Department of University of Ibadan. Thank you so much for your brilliant submissions. And thank you, Madam, for those words. Optimism, Mrs. MD CEO, Faye Limited. And of course, the moderator. Thank you so much for moderating brilliantly and getting your discussants to talk and speak their minds. Dr. John Asain, Director General, Nigerian Copyright Commission, NCC. Thank you so much for your time. We say have a great day. Now, there's going to be a presentation of gifts, and I'll be handing over to Mr. Emmanuel Abimbola. Before he does that, please permit me to recognize the presence of Engineer Ifeanyi Avaja, who is the Chairman, Association of Nigerian Authors. Thank you so much for coming. Lagos State Branch, thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Before we release our panelists to, take their seats, we are going to do two things. Number one, the presentation of gifts to them. And then two, we'll take group photograph together with them. So by the time we want to take the photograph, the president will come up and the chairman of the planning committee. So we are going to call them one after the other to do the presentation of gifts. So I am going to invite Mrs. Edith Iwena, to come forward to do the presentation of gifts to Professor Abiodun Oluwadare. So Mrs. Iwena, you are welcome for the presentation of gifts to Professor Oluwadare. Let's keep clapping until she gets here. Thank you.
Yeah, on behalf of the MPA, we are here to give you a little token of love for honoring our invitation. Thank you.
And then, thank you very much, madam. And then to present to Mr. Olugbemi Malomo is Mr. Frank Osegwe. Mr. Frank, please come forward to do the presentation of gifts to the president of SIPON, Mr. Olugbemi Malomo.
On behalf of the MPA, I'd like to say a big thank you for coming and for your wonderful contribution to today's event. Thank you very much. God bless you.
Yeah, thank you. And then I would like to invite to present to Alhaji Hassan Bala his gift, Mr. John Omomeji, the MD of Model Educational Book Publishers. Mr. Omomeji. Keep clapping until he gets here to do the presentation to Alhaji Hassan.
On behalf of the MPA, we appreciate your contribution. Thank you for coming. This is a souvenir for you. Thank you, sir. God bless you.
Thank you. And I invite Mr. Ali Okunade of Atlantic Publishers to present to Mrs. Funlayo Okeowo of FAE Limited. Clap for him. Clap, clap. Clap for him. He's taking it gently because of his flowing garment. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. Well, on behalf of Nigerian Publishers Association, this is a token of our appreciation for your contribution to this conference. Thank you, and thank you indeed.
Okay, and to present to the chairman of the panel, Dr. Jonas Sein, is Sir Jesse Odu of Alliance Publication. Sir Jesse, let's clap for him as he steps here.
Old age is coming. Congratulations. On behalf of MPA, we present this as a token of our appreciation and your solidarity to this organization. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So I'd like to invite the president and the vice president to join the panelists for the group photograph, after which they will step into the audience to take their seat. Thank you very much. Madam can come in the middle. Yeah.
Thank you to everyone on stage. We have finally come to a seeming end of this, but don't forget there is a book exhibition going on behind you. You go over there and look at books. That is the purpose of this gathering. And now I have the singular honor of inviting for the vote of thanks the Vice President of the NPA, the Managing Director of Evans Brothers Nigeria Limited. Please join me in welcoming Alhaji. And the Chairman of the Planning Committee, of course. Please join me to welcome Alhaji Lukman Dauda.
Yeah, thank you, the MC, for a wonderful job done so far. I want to crave your indulgence for keeping you waiting till this time. Though the original intention was to close this program by 2 o'clock. We'll probably only ask for additional a quarter of an hour to close the program. Without wasting much time, let me quickly go through to the task given to me to give the vote of thanks. First of all, I would like to thank God for making this particular event a success. We propose that this event should come up today, and by His special grace, here we are, having an event that has been issue-free, so to say. We give all glory to Almighty God. And I want to equally thank the President of the Association and Chairman in Council, Chief Dr. Ushe Nasril Anioke, for the confidence reposed in the committee that planned this particular event. We thank you for the support from the inception to date. And I want to assume, because I'm not in a position to assess our performance, I want to assume we have not disappointed you, sir. Thank you very much. And in that order, I want to thank the ESCO members too for supporting the committee to deliver this particular event. I want to thank the chairman of today's event, our own, the former president of the association and a former managing director of HEBN Services, PLC, Chief Okereke. We thank you for accepting to share today's occasion. And I must say, you have done wonderfully well. Thank you very much, sir. May God continue to strengthen you. I equally want to thank our paper presenter, the keynote speaker. On a lighter note, he was already sending shivers up my spine when we were looking both sky and ground for his arrival. I want to assume that he thought we are an organization that has that wonderful but embarrassing, climb of African time. We actually intended to start on the dot of 10, but we were waiting for him, so we had to start 30 minutes after, or a bit late. But we thank God that he arrived here safely. So, Prof, we appreciate your coming, and may God continue to strengthen you and bless your knowledge the more. You were so practical in your paper presentation, and that's the area that actually struck me. Very, very practical. You are not too theoretical, and I appreciate that. And I believe everybody enjoyed your paper presentation. So thank you. I believe when we call upon you another time, you will not hesitate to accept our invitation. Thank you. The representative of the Federal Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment, in fact, when the name was first mentioned, I was looking up to meeting a woman. Because when I hear Hillary, the only Hillary I know is a woman. That is Hillary Clinton. Surprisingly, I met the picture of a man. So I don't know that men equally bear the name Hillary. Now that I know, so I've been educated. So, Mr. Mwako, we thank you for honoring and representing the minister. May God grant you journey mercies back to your base. You have been with us since yesterday, and we enjoy your presence. Thank you very much. And convey our heartfelt appreciation to the Minister and the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry. Then the representative of the Ministry of Basic Education and that of Tertiary Education in Lagos, we thank you very much. Please convey our appreciation to the commissioners. We would have loved to have the governor in attendance. I hope one of these days, our leaders in political offices will probably be able to attach a higher premium to education that they flaunt on a daily basis. This is a very important gathering that will have expected the presence of a top-ranking officer. Not that the people that have come are not top-ranked, they are. But it is always good to have, whatever is going to be given to them will be a third party, I mean, what do you call it? You know, a third-hand information. We want a one-on-one discussion with these people. And we pray that one of these days, they will have our time. So thank you very much for representing the commissioners and convey our appreciation to them all. Also, I must not forget to thank our donors. You go to page 12 of the program, you will see all our donors. It's not impossible that some donors' names were not listed there. Maybe they came a bit late. We implore them to always come on time so that we will be able to showcase their names. I must especially thank Clean Life Nigeria Limited. I wouldn't know whether there's any affiliation with Nixon Paper Company. Whatever it is, they did well in supporting us financially, and that of Nixon Paper Company. We came to you at short notice, and you didn't disappoint us. We really appreciate your support, and I want to assure you that with the commencement of your operation, you are going to be a very great stakeholder in our business. And our members will not hesitate to patronize you. That's going to reduce a lot of stress that some of us are carrying now. You know, trying to pay for the production made outside of this environment because of the exchange rate. So we hope that your coming into existence will lessen this stress or even totally eradicate it. So thank you very much, Nixon Paper Company and Clean Life Nigeria Limited. We appreciate you very much. The service providers, starting from the hotel, Lagos Airport Hotel, we thank you for all the concessions given to us to make use of your facilities. We appreciate you, and may God continue to bless your efforts, bless your operation. The MC, thank you very much, madam. We really appreciate you. You did well. May God continue to be with you too. The rapporteur, we thank you, and we are looking forward to what you have been able to make up of this particular gathering. Thank you very much. The media team, we cannot forget you. You have done so wonderfully well. And I believe next time we will not hesitate to invite you again. Thank you very much. Now, the exhibitors too, we appreciate your coming. Exhibition at this kind of gathering is not meant for, you know, sales, but to project what you have to offer to the public. So, you do not measure your presence here on the basis of how much you have been able to make. No. It is what you have been here, you know, to demonstrate as your products. So we thank you very much for coming around to exhibit. Now, my fellow committee members. All the members of the planning committee, can you please rise up for people to know you? Members of the planning committee, if you go to page 14 of the program, they are all there. These are the men of timber, men and women of timbers and calibers that have been privileged, you know, to work with in planning this particular program. I appreciate all of you, both the National Planning Committee and the Local Organizing Committee, headed by Mr. Henry Idogun. Mr. Idogun, you are not listening to us. You should be on your legs now, on your foot. Let people know that you did a wonderful job. These are the people that put up this particular event. I want to appreciate you all, and I have no regret working with all of you. Thank you very much for the support. When I look through, I happen to be the youngest of you all in all ramifications. In spite of that, you still gave me the respect. Thank you very much. I appreciate you. And then, you know, we are all members of a particular organization, and we have a secretariat that is led by the executive secretary, Mr. Emmanuel Abimbola. We appreciate the secretarial staff for all the secretarial support given to the committee and all the good jobs we have been doing to ensure that the MPA continues to thrive. God will be with all of you. Thank you very much. And last but not the least, I've mentioned the media team, but let me equally be specific about the journalists, both print and electronic. We appreciate your coming. And other ladies and gentlemen that heard that we are having a function here and decided to join us. Thank you, and thank you. May God bless all of us. I appreciate you all.
Thank you very much, sir, for that closing remark and the vote of thanks. That is the chairman of the planning committee for this successful conference. Shall we put our hands together for him again? Thank you very much. Now, the book exhibition stand is there, so after the closing, we go there for exhibition. Then, let me also announce that this evening, by around 5:30 p.m., there will be a cocktail party at the poolside here for as many of us that are still around. There will be a cocktail party at 5:30 p.m., so let us meet there. And then, now the lunch is set, and we have been served meal tickets. So if you don't have a ticket, you might not be able to take your own portion of the lunch. And this is how we are going to do it. Our invited guests, you know, that are at the front seat here, will go first. We are going to do it in order, table by table. So we allow them to go first, and then after the other table, our ushers are here. So let's just keep seated, hold your ticket, and when it is our turn, we will be directed to the table. The people at my right-hand side here on top will use the serving center at the back of the auditorium. They will use the serving center at the back of the auditorium, table by table, while the people here will use this side. So we give honor to our people, our guests, and the president and other people in the front here to come first. Then after that, the next table, and then the next table like that. So thank you very much. Yes, we are set. We are set to go. Please, the servers should get ready. People are already coming. The people at the table at my left here will also join the center at the back. So when it is time, we will direct you. Just be patient. It won't take time. Thank you very much. We have enough food to go around everyone.